Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bigfoot Cooking, where today we're making Albondigas soup. Yeah, I probably butchered the name. I know, I'm not very fluent in Spanish, but the name is Albondigas or something like that. Anyway, it's meatball soup. But instead of using just the regular meat for it, we're gonna be using ground ostrich meat. Something a little different and something very delicious. And we're gonna make homemade bone broth. That's right, we're gonna take some ostrich bones that I smoked in another episode where we had a whole big smoked ostrich wings. I'm gonna take those bones and we're gonna turn them into some awesome bone broth. Now, to do this process, all it takes is a lot of time, a little patience, and a slow cooker or putting it on the back of the stove where it just sits there. Now let's begin this journey. We're gonna do it a little different than I've done before because the cards, they'll come out when I get past the bone broth. I know not everyone wants to do a bone broth. You might want to use these little guys here. You might have canned. Hey, that's fine, shortcut it. But we're gonna make some homemade ostrich bone broth for this one. So step one, we start out with bones. I know, shocking, right? We're gonna take all of these things and make this thing wonderful. So we start out, we're gonna take, there's all the things that are involved in bone broth. We're gonna take our bones, we're gonna put them into the crock pot. We're gonna let them sit there, get happy and comfortable. From there, we're gonna add carrots. It's about 3 carrots. I had baby carrots, so I figured, hey, simple substitution. But we dump in the carrots and the celery, which is about 2 stalks. And yes, I'm out of onions too, so we're gonna use dried onions for this. So we're dumping in about 1/4 cup of dried onions. From there, we're using a 1/2 of a garlic bulb. And as far as spices and seasonings, we're gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, pepper, thyme, rosemary, turmeric, and 2 bay leaves. On top of all of that, we're gonna pour just enough water to where the bones are underwater, keeping it nice and simple. You don't wanna you don't want a whole pot. You just want enough water to cover your bones. And for the final ingredient, a little apple cider vinegar. Now that all of this is in the pot, the only thing to do is let it simmer on low. Now, this may take 8 to 12 to 24 to 48 hours. How long do you want to let your bone broth go? For us, we're gonna do this, we're gonna let it sit overnight, and tomorrow we'll pick up on the lovely goodness that's left behind. Now, if you're wondering why homemade bone broth, why do this yourself? I hate to say it this way, but Google it, because there are so many health benefits to an actual good, well-built bone broth. Everything from hair, nails, skin, gut health. There's a myriad of options for why you want to make your own bone broth. Go look. You don't believe me? Google.com and info is everywhere. But now that we've got this going, let's wait until tomorrow and see what we got. Watch the magic of editing. And voila, 12 hours has passed. Yes, this is a fast cooking bone broth. We're not, if you really want to get a lot of the heavier nutrients and things like that out, you would cook this longer. But for what we're doing, 12 hours, you get all the flavors out of it. And that's what we're after. So check out our lovely creation. All night of simmering. The power of the slow cooker is absolutely amazing. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna try and figure out which tool to use. We're gonna fish out all of our bones first, because they're easy to get. We'll start out with our great big old pork bone. Tell you what, the dogs are gonna be happy today. Come on, ostrich bones. I know you're in there. They went in one way and they're coming out another. Now let's fish out some of our bigger pieces before we pick it up to strain. And now for the real thing we've been chasing, all that good bone broth juice. We'll take and get our little strainer here. We'll set it up, grab this guy and just pour it in the pot. Look at there, that is a thing of beauty. Out with the juices, and voila, we have our broth. Oh, I bet you'd like to see it. Let me get a little thing. Now, if you would like a broth that is absolutely clear, you could run this through a coffee strainer or some cheesecloth or something like that. But for what we got, which is going right into a soup, got a little bit more left in here. But this, oh, this is such a good base. The smell, the whole house, it just says, oh, time to eat. We've got our broth. Now, let's get to the recipe for the Albondigas soup. Yeah, okay, the meatball soup. So we have our bone broth, and we have all the people that skipped ahead. Y'all missed something. Shh, if they don't want to watch it, don't tell them. But y'all missed something. So let's get on with the ingredients of the meatball soup. Yeah, I'm skipping the bad pronunciation. So meatball soup. We're gonna start out by making the meatballs. Obviously, that's like the star of the show. And for the meat, we're using Ostrich from American Ostrich Farms. Yes, gratuitous plug there, because hey, there's good stuff. They know what they're doing. They got it ground up. This stuff is really good. Now, if you don't want to use it, you can use bison or you can use a really lean ground beef. But this amazing stuff, you've got to give it a try. We'll take about a pound of meat, your choice. And from there, these are all the mix-ins for the meatballs. It'll be an egg, which of course will help glue the lean meat together. We're gonna do about a half a cup of onion, maybe a little more, depending on how I feel when I cut the onion, but at least a half a cup of onion. A quarter cup of rice, that will help make it just a little more gooey and sticky and hold together in the soup. We're gonna do 3 garlic cloves, 2 teaspoons of salt, a teaspoon of cumin, whatever you want to pronounce it as, teaspoon of cumin, and a half a teaspoon of pepper and oregano. That will take care of the meatball side. Now for the soup side, our glorious bone broth that we have been cooking for the past 12 plus hours, we need 6 cups of that. That's going to give us enough of a good base for the soup. If you didn't want to do bone broth, I guess you could do chicken broth or vegetable broth or whatever, but this is just going to give it such a rich flavor. So we have our bone broth. We're going to use a can of crushed tomatoes. You want the sauce and everything. Again, we're trying to keep a good liquid count here. So a can of your best preserved tomatoes, pound of russet potatoes, 3 whole carrots. We have baby carrots, we got to use them. So hey, they're pre-cut. I don't even have to touch them. A couple of zucchini, and we're going to do, for a finishing, you could put on like some lime juice or if cilantro if you wanted, just to give it that extra little something. So all the ingredients are here. Let's get the party started by making the meatballs. Now, since American Ostrich Farms was nice enough to send me the meat, might as well tell you a little bit about it. Of course, you know it's ostrich meat, it's ground, it's premium stuff. Honestly, I really, looking at the vitamin and nutrient content of this, it's better than beef, it's better than bison. I mean, you've got a high iron, you've got low fat. There's all kinds of reasons why you would want to use ostrich meat. And when you order from them, take a look around their website because they have an Easter egg. You can get a free sticker, but you got to find it. All you got to do is ask. They'll be like, sure, we'll put it in the box for you, no problem. But you got to find it, you got to ask for it. So all that being said, let's get to this pound of ground ostrich meat and get it going. We'll just snip our little package open here and apply it right on in. You know, the packaging here is actually pretty tough too. Whee! The pool party has begun. Another cool thing about it is if you look, they even show the date that it was packaged and when they had it ready to go to you. These guys have got a pretty good business idea going on. From here, we add our 1 egg. Let's see if I can do this Hollywood style. It busted. Oh well, it's gonna bust really good in here. We've got our onion to chop up in high speed. And we'll just slide these guys in. Didn't cry this time. Whee! Part 2. Whee! It's like a Halloween slasher. Whee! Everybody in. Lordy, I have made a mess. Next on the hit list, rice, baby. Can't forget our garlic, but we gotta do a little smash and grab first. We're gonna smash them under the knife, grab them, and peel them. Now let's load them into the best garlic press I have ever found. I keep watching guys fighting with the little ones, but this one, oh, you just load it up, cock, lock, and rock. Best dadgum press out there. We keep the party going with our 2 teaspoons of salt. I know, seems like a lot, but once you get this whole soup and everything in there, it's not too much. A teaspoon of cumin, just for some more flavor, color, and deliciousness. A half a teaspoon of pepper, because we put salt in it. When do you ever salt something and not pepper it? It's kind of like a marriage, they go together. And a little bit of oregano. Now, just as a side note, you know, you see all these cooking shows where we do this, where we take these little cups and we separate everything and put it out. This is actually not a bad idea for your regular cooking. You can't forget ingredients if they're right here in front of you. They're pre-measured, preset, and if you have a dishwasher, okay, a little more room in there, but this makes life so much better. Trust me, try it one time. You'll be like, oh, this is kind of dumb. And then you'll do it and be like, you know, it's not a bad idea, but got everything in there? Let's do some mixing. Now that we're all mixed together, what we'll do, we'll get us up about a 2-inch meatball, something, you know, about nay big. We'll get all these things rolled up and get them ready for the stew. Now with potato, there's of course always the debate, skin on, skin off. You know what, this is your stew. If you want to peel these so all your potatoes are white and none of the skin on it, or you just don't like the texture of the skin, go for it. As for this one, we're leaving skin on, and we're gonna dice these up into, you know, small bite-sized pieces. Watch. You gotta love the fast forward. Potatoes are done. Now zucchini time. Time for the stew pot. So we're gonna get this soup party started right, because it's got to be a party. Step 1, the pool. All the lovely flavor right in. Oh, only halfway. That's right, 6 whole quarts of delicious bone broth, or chicken broth, or vegetable broth, whatever broth you choose. But we made this for this special. We're also gonna add our tomatoes at this time. Get them in there. Make a big old mess everywhere in the process. We're gonna light our burner and let this get to a little simmer. Don't worry, this won't take too long. Actually too, if you put the lid on a pot, it'll boil faster, just to save yourself a little time. I hear some sounds inside. Let's take a look and see what we got. Oh yeah, a good nice roaring boil. Time they take the temp down to medium, because nothing bad happens at medium, right? Give us a stir here. Ooh, look at that, look at that, look at that. The bubbles are saying it is time. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna add our meatballs. Now you're not gonna just slam these guys home, because we want them to actually look like meatballs when we eat them, as opposed to, you know, we're not trying to make a meat soup. So we will gently ease them in carefully, because we hot, we hot, we hot. And from this point, you don't want to stir either, because once you stir, well, you're messing up the meatballs. Yes, I'm jerking back my hand quick, but I'm not just slamming them in there. Oop, yeah, we're looking good. Oh, that one fell apart on me. Meat soup it is. Now, when you're making this, if you find that for some reason your meatballs are growing out of your soup, no problem, add a little water to it. No need to make things suffer just because the pot was bigger than you thought. And we're gonna give this roughly 10 minutes or so. Let it soak in the warm, hot pool, the warm, hot tub we got going on here. 10 minutes in, we'll start adding our veggies. 10 minutes has eased on by. Don't you love editing? Saves you a lot of boring time. Now from here, we're gonna add our 3 carrots, or big old handful of baby carrots. We're gonna fill it up with potatoes. Gotta have them taters in there. Everybody in the pool. And of course, a little zucchini to make everything colorful, because, you know, presentation and taste go hand in hand. Now, once you've got everything in your pot, like I said earlier, if the juices don't cover it, not a problem. Add water. Not tequila, water. Tequila makes a totally different dish, and that's not what we're after. Everybody's in the juices, and if they float, well, I can't help that. Now, again, I haven't stirred the pot because I don't want to destroy my meatballs. We're going to give this about 10 minutes to come back up to a boil. And after that, we're going to bring it down and let it simmer. Let it relax. Let it calm. And get fork tender on the veggies. Oh, yeah. 15 minutes has settled on by rather quickly, I must add. Let's see what we got. Let's go in here and grab us up a potato, since the potatoes are always the thing that take the longest. And we'll see. Oh, yeah. Slides in, no problem. Good to go. Time to turn the heat off and plate this dish. And there you have it, Albondigas soup, or for us non-Spanish speaking people. And there you have it, meatball soup. Either way, it's gonna taste the same. Now, for me, I like really thick soups as far as I want a lot of vegetables, I want a lot of stuff in it. And this totally fills the bill. I mean, take a look. You've got so many veggies in there. Do you eat with a spoon? Do you eat with a fork? Up to you. Now for garnishment, because everything needs always a little more. You know, a little salt, a little pepper. In this case, a little lime. We're just gonna juice it up on in here. Get this guy to have a little more flavor to its life. Oh yes. And we are gonna start this with a fork because I wanna try this meatball first. We're gonna dip right in, come right out, and make it disappear. Ooh, it's hot. I should know better. Now that is really good. Like, really good. Like, my tummy's gonna be happy good. And yes, I'm eating my soup with a fork, okay? Doesn't matter what I do here. The biggest thing to know is that Bigfoot is real. And this is a really soft carrot. Why can't I get juice out of this lime? Ooh.